in 2011 was a moment that gave massive inspiration to everyone around the world fighting against dictatorship, fighting for democracy, but also struggling against neoliberalism and war. It was a day, it was a revolution that resonated around the world. And today, on January the 25th in Greece, the people there look set to make a historic decision and elect the first anti-austerity government in Europe. And I believe that their movement wouldn't have been as strong if they too hadn't got inspiration from the fantastic achievements of the people of Egypt. I also think today we need to be brutally honest about who holds responsibility for the terrible coup of July the 3rd, 2013. Because this wasn't just a domestic affair. This brutality was also planned and dreamt up in Washington and in Whitehall. And just as the Americans and the British advised and supported Mubarak, now disgracefully they are continuing to advise and to support the military dictatorship in Egypt under El-Sisi. This is a scandal. This is something we continue to campaign about. This is something we have to keep at the heart of British politics. And what is particularly disgusting is that yesterday David Cameron and President Obama went to the capital of Saudi Arabia to pay respects to King Abdullah and the regime there. The Saudi regime is the heart of counter-revolution in the Middle East. The Saudis were part of the network that was responsible for the coup in Egypt, as well as presiding over one of the most reactionary regimes in the world. We demand that the British government breaks all links with El-Sisi, breaks all links with the dictatorship in Egypt and the other rotten dictatorships across the Middle East. And this link explains why the struggle against Western foreign policy is deeply and intimately linked to the future of the Egyptian revolution and the future of freedom and democracy for people across the Middle East. And the Stop the War Coalition will continue to fight alongside all those who stand for democracy. We will continue to campaign against any intervention in the Middle East by our government and the other Western powers. And because of that, we will stand shoulder to shoulder with you in your struggle. And I will end just by making this one point. In the light of the attempts by Western governments, our government, the French government and others, to use the terrible events in Paris a few weeks ago to attack and criminalise the Muslim communities across Europe. One of the worst things that has been created by the war on terror has been this attempt to demonise Muslims, to attack the Muslim communities and to divide our societies. And what was so inspirational about the revolution in 2011 was to see on the streets of Cairo and the other Egyptian cities, Muslims, non-Muslims, Christians, the left, the trade unions, marching together for freedom and democracy. And it is that unity, it is that sense of fighting all divisions and marching together against the masters of the universe who try and dictate our world that we need to get back to. We need an international movement for peace, freedom and democracy that brings together Muslims and non-Muslims, that brings together the left and the other social forces. If we do that, we shall overcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Maynard.